Welcome everyone to another episode of the Will and Rock MMA podcast.
What's up, everyone? We're gonna start off with some news. It comes from Bellator. John Fish just signed a multi-fight deal.
Our boy John Fish,
which we took a picture with him in the Prudential Center back in, I think it was UFC 111.
Jeez, man. George St. Pierre fought Dan Hardy.
Yeah, that was the first fight that we went to go see live, and John Fish was just walking around, and we decided, yo, Fish, can we take a picture? He was really cool about it. We actually gonna post that out on our Instagram, so maybe tomorrow.
It's our boy.
That's our boy. So yeah, I think he signed a four-deal contract. They rumored that he's gonna be fighting daily. You and I was talking about a little bit about that. I think it's stylistically is a good matchup to bring him into the UFC. Now, keeping in mind that
Bellator.
Oh, sorry, to Bellator. Keeping in mind that he's like 40 years old, so...
That's the thing. He's one of these fighters. How much does he have left in his tank?
Well, he never was one to take... the last fight he had, I don't remember who he fought in the UFC, but he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And that was the only knockout that he had, and that was the only loss that he had, and then UFC just dropped him for some controversy there. Who knows what it was?
Was it Johnny Hendricks?
It was Johnny Hendricks. Good call. Yup. Johnny Hendricks knocked him out. Yeah.
Right. Yo, that's let him out.
So anyway, so congratulations to John Fish. All right.
That's a good look for Fish. Yeah.
For sure. The next one is from actually Bellator. Let's stay with all Bellator news for now. Ryan Bader is fighting King Mo this Saturday.
That's a great card, man.
The card itself is a great card, but that particular fight, I think, is a great fight. I don't know if King Mo has the capability. Well, he definitely has the capabilities of knocking him out or out wrestling him. I don't know if he has the stamina to fight a guy like Ryan Bader, who's they're always game when they come into these fights, but he brings that extra stamina in the octagon that I believe is going to make him the winner for that fight.
So you got Bader on that?
Yeah, and we should take a shot. Why don't we do that? That's the only fight in Bellator that we're going to do, that we're going to take a shot, because we've never done that before.
I don't know, but at the end of the day, I was going Bader anyways. I think Bader's going to grind him out. Bader's physique is never known to gas out. King Mo is known to gas out. But I will say, one of the things I really like about this fight is that they're in that age group where they're just peaking their prime, both of these fighters.
I don't know about that.
Dude, we agreed that Bader should have not gotten dropped by the UFC.
I agree with you. I'm not talking about Bader.
Both of these fighters.
I think King Mo has...
Let me say something. No matter what you're going to say, I think both of these fighters could easily get a UFC contract.
Oh, without a doubt.
When you start looking around, everybody who is in that heavyweight class, there's not many fighters who I necessarily care for to see in the UFC ever.
Yeah.
Roy Nelson, don't care to see him in the UFC. Honestly, just don't. I feel like that's it. He's past that. He just became a stepping stone to get into title contention. Matt Mitrione is another one.
What? No, I disagree. I think Matt Mitrione has a lot more potential in the UFC if he would go and fight in the UFC.
I'm not saying that he doesn't have much potential than Roy Nelson. It's just how big of a name is he going into the UFC is what I'm saying.
Well, anyways, but I get what you're trying to say.
You get my point. My point is these two guys, it just makes for a great fight. Stylistically, if we're really discussing it that way, they're both one knockout artists and they're amazing wrestlers.
Yep.
So it's really who has the best lung at this point, or who gets lucky and knocks the other one out.
I agree with you, and I believe Ryan Bader is going to be taking that one. And we will be taking shots, so keep that in mind.
For the future, but obviously this one we both picked Bader. I don't see Bader losing this fight.
The next one we have is a UFC news. They ended up reaching a contract with ESPN. They're going to start streaming live in 2019. The interesting story about that is that I'm pretty sure they're getting drafted from Fox. So Fox is no longer going to be part of UFC.
It's crazy, man.
Why are the reasons for this move? Is it because besides the contract is done with Fox, but Fox is not willing to pay them as much as ESPN? Fox probably doesn't even want them back, and ESPN decided, hey, listen, we're a sports channel. Hey, bring us over. There's a lot of things that are in the table that nobody really knows why. I think when throughout the end of the year, before obviously 2009, we're gonna start hearing more announcements about it, and we couldn't probably find out why is the reason Fox didn't pick up the UFC.
That's so interesting. I know they decided to go with Fox because Fox has a better international platform.
Right.
But if you're looking at ESPN is more within the U.S., like really known within the U.S. So it's interesting what the shift the UFC decided to do, or they had no choice and they had to go with ESPN.
Right, that's a good point. And who else was in the contentions besides ESPN? Besides ESPN and Fox? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Mm. Anyway, so that's that. The next one, George St. Pierre. You know what? Let's leave that one for last. I'm sorry. Jair Rodriguez is fucking fighting Sabit.
Holy shit, man.
This is a fight. You know, we went to go see him in the... on the Barclays Center, right? Sabit fought against another opponent. I don't remember his name. You remember? And Sabit, he was the performance. He was the reason why that card was phenomenal.
He was one of the reasons why that card was phenomenal.
For sure, without a doubt. And I believe that coming from AKA as well, this kid is of wreck to be messing with. I don't see anybody beating him just yet. I think it's a perfect fight for Yair Rodriguez, actually, coming to think about it.
So, stylistically, once again, this fight is ideal. They're both highlight reels waiting to happen. The thing about Sabit is the comfort level that he goes into the octagon with, and how seamless everything he does. Yeah. It's like watching Pettis fight to an extent, you know, like it's just natural. All these abilities to hold put his foot on his hand on the octagon and throw an overleg kick, like crazy shit like that, or off the fence. They make it look so seamless. Sabit is that guy. But the great thing about Yaris is on his way up. Like, this is a great fight for Yaris to take.
And especially, coming from the loss with Frankie Edgar, and the time that he took off was the perfect timing, I think, for him to come back and still fight at a high level, because now we're fighting a guy like Sabit, who everybody's talking about. So
Sabit really made a name for himself.
Without a doubt. With if Jair Rodriguez wins this fight, is going to put him in the next, who knows? He might get a rematch with Frankie Edgar, you know what I'm saying? So,
but at the end of the day, he will be put up in that ranking, which he needs.
Without a doubt.
And especially for somebody so young, and there's endless potential in that kid.
So that Sabit versus Jair Rodriguez, they're going to be fighting. That's going to be, not sure what UFC is on.
I think it's UFC 2.
Anyways, the next one is George St. Pierre versus Nate Diaz. That is the rumor, should I say. It's not official. No contract has been signed yet. I'm a fiend listening to these podcasts, and I've heard a couple of things saying that George St. Pierre's camp is saying that they never agreed to a fight with Nate Diaz, and that they're waiting for the fight whether either with Conor or with Khabib Nurmagomedov. So I think that is the fight going to happen? Who knows? Again, everything is just rumors and speculations. Nothing has been signed. But let's entertain the fight if these two do happen to fight. Yeah, you will go first. I want you to get your opinion on this.
The Nate.
If Nate Diaz versus George St. Pierre.
So to start off, Nate actually said in an interview, and he said it several times, that this is not the fight he wanted. This is what bothers me a little bit about this fight, right? This is not the fight he wanted, because that's his fight that his brother's supposed to take. He kept saying, that's a Nick fight, that has nothing to do with me. That's a Nick fight, that has nothing to do with me. He said that in several interviews with Ariel Helwani. But what bothers me is that this fight, Nate has been out for so long, right? Nate did not win a championship belt necessarily. Don't get me wrong. There's so much hype behind Nate coming back. I want Nate coming back. I think he needs to come back. But then you have someone like George St. Pierre who ended up taking a long layoff, one of the biggest layoffs that a fighter could have done, and come back in that shape and form, and to beat Michael Bisping and to take his belt. I think the next fight for George St. Pierre, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not opposed to this fight whatsoever, but I feel George St. Pierre deserves the McGregor fight or deserves that Khabib fight.
I agree with you. I believe that we have to also understand, though, Nate Diaz, the last person who Nate Diaz beat, is the biggest superstar in MMA history, right? In MMA history, period. And that's Conor McGregor. Mm-hmm. He beat him once, lost, and hasn't fought him again. So he is coming off of a one-on-one win with Conor McGregor, the biggest UFC. So, I mean, I went back on his Instagram. That guy has like almost 5 million followers.
Who's this?
Nate Diaz. From a place where he was before, where he was barely in his thousands. So, with that type of like fame, let's keep it 100. Like with that type of fame, it makes sense for him to fight Georges St. Pierre. Now, for that same reason,
I'm not opposed to it. Yeah.
But I agree with you. After a fight that Georges St. Pierre just came back from winning versus Michael Bisping, do you put a guy like Nate Diaz, who's nowhere to be found as of late? Why not put him against McGregor or Khabib or even Tyrone Woodley?
And then to top it off, putting that fight at 155.
Well,
that benefits Nate. That doesn't benefit George.
It doesn't. Is that for sure?
Well,
that's a rumor.
The rumor.
I highly doubt. Again, this is speculations. It's not 100%. I do not see Georges St. Pierre going down to 155. Georges St. Pierre hasn't been in 155. He's never fought in lightweight. He's always fought middleweight.
Welterweight.
Welterweight.
170.
And he fought Michael Bisping in middleweight. So it doesn't make sense for him to go back down 2 weight classes, especially when he walks around at middleweight. You know what I'm saying? But it should be interesting whether or not that should happen. That fight should come apart, you know?
But we're not opposed to it. At this point, the UFC needs a spark.
Yeah.
And if we're going to start making these whacked out fights that don't necessarily imply into anything, they're just fights for views versus title contention, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I agree. One last thing before we move on to the card, UFC 224. There's a rumor about Luke Rockhold fighting against Gustafsson for the interim title for the light heavyweight.
That's bananas.
Because Daniel Cormier is going into heavyweight. Just a quick thing. I think it's a phenomenal fight. I think it's the fight to make. It's very interesting if you think about it, because if Luke Rockhold wins, there's no way in hell that even if Daniel Cormier wins or loses in that bout, he will go back down, because they're both training partners at AKA. So I think it's very interesting to look at that, because most likely either Daniel Cormier retires or Daniel Cormier continues his run as a heavyweight in the heavyweight division. I do not see him coming down. I think it'll be even more interesting if Luke Rockhold loses to Gustafsson and Daniel Cormier beats Stipe Miocic, so they could go fight. Because that fight before was really, really close. You know?
That fight is long to happen. Fight is long to happen.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. It's not something you and I even had in the notes that we were talking about. But it's important to mention, because it was one of the highlights of the news this week.
It's such a stylistically is an amazing
really
fight.
100%. But let's get right to it. So UFC 224, we're going to start doing our predictions. As we know, next week, shots, right? So the first fight is Vitor Belfort versus Lyoto Machida. Now, these are two fighters that I believe whoever loses is cut, without a doubt. Don't you agree?
Well, first of all, Vitor Belfort, this is his last fight, so ain't nobody cutting him. Ain't nobody cutting him. This is more. This fight, I feel, has so much more
riding on
Lyoto Machida versus riding on Vitor Belfort. Lyoto needs a victory, because unfortunately Lyoto's already looking like the old fighter, the washed up fighter.
And it's because he got caught with some steroids in the past, so that's why people are just throwing that in the mix as well. That doesn't help, you know?
No, it doesn't. If he was taking it and now he's off it, it doesn't help. And it doesn't help that people are talking about that shit is in his fucking psyche, bro. He's like fucked up about it, you know? So, anyways, who should go first? Who should pick the first fight?
It's cool. You can go first, bro. And we're gonna go down the list. If you get to pick the main event,
so be it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going with Lyoto Machida on this. Not necessarily because he has more writing on him. I just feel like at this point in this day and age, he's just a better fighter than Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort was clearly on steroids, clearly off steroids, and as soon as he got off steroids, his career has gone on a downfall. So that's who I got winning. Lyoto Machida.
I would like to pick against you just so somebody could take a shot, but it's hard to do so. I think Lyoto Machida has the upper hand. And it's not so much that Vitor Belfort is an older Vitor Belfort. I just believe that ever since Vitor Belfort has come off of that testosterone replacement therapy, he's never been the same fighter again. And Lyoto Machida, in the other hand, he doesn't look as bad or as slow as I've seen Vitor Belfort look. So for that reason, I have Lyoto Machida winning, and I think Lyoto Machida is going to knock him out.
Yeah, I don't see this fight going into decision. So either Machida's getting knocked out or Vitor Belfort. But I do agree, Machida got this in the bag.
Okay, the next one is Brian Keller versus John Lineker. Now, this is a fight that I'm going to pick. I like the chances Brian has in this fight, but I'm going to play it safe and say John Lineker. I think John Lineker, coming off a couple of wins recently versus Marlon Vera, I think he has the upper hand in this fight. I believe that his power is going to prevail in this fight, and we're going to see an early stoppage. I smell a knockout in this fight.
So I'm not going to contradict you, and I know it sucks because I should go against you to make this entertaining, but I'm not only rooting for Lineker, because I feel like Lineker, after beating someone like Marlon Vera, who is like a young guy on the rise and shutting him down, he's on his way up. He's back to where he wants to be. I feel like he's on his way up, and he's a bigger name coming into this fight. I got Lineker winning this fight.
Cool. So we both have Lineker winning the fight. The next one is Amanda Cooper versus Mackenzie Dern. Now,
I got this fight.
You got the fight. Go for it.
So this is a great fight. I'm very familiar who Dern is. So to start off, I'm gonna go with Dern because it's the more known fighter in this coming into this bout. And I've seen her fight. This other girl, I'm not 100% sure who she is. But Dern is one freaking aggressive ass freaking chick, bro.
Yeah.
So freaking relentless. I'm going Dern on this fight.
Another one that I might have to pick the same as you. I know Mackenzie Dern. She's a beast. One of the best submission practitioners in the game as we speak, and I believe she's gonna get it done, whether first or second round. Yeah. But we're gonna see a submission in that fight. So again, we all picked the same three fighters so far. So be it. It is what it is. The next one is so tough for me. I have a hard time with this. Kelvin Gastelum versus Ronaldo Sousa.
I know who I'm going to pick. Oh, am I picking this one? No. Oh, no.
I'm picking this one. Damn, I have a hard time. I love Jacare. I always say Jacare is like almost next in line to every bout. But I feel like after knocking out Michael Bisping, the performance that Kevin Gastelum has been putting up has been like world tendencies for a championship. I think Kevin Gastelum has the upper hand. I don't want to freaking bet against Ronaldo Jacare, but I'm going to, and I'm gonna pick Kevin Gastelum picking this fight.
All right. So the reason why I really love the fact you did that because I'm going with Sousa. Why am I going with Sousa? I think Sousa is the best one in that weight class, and I know how deep that fucking weight class is. Yeah. Holy shit, is it deep? But I got Sousa just because first of all, he is a phenomenal submission artist. He's an amazing wrestler. He is so powerful.
He's been knocking people out.
So my point, what I was about to get to that is, then that's what he was known for. Now his arsenal is the stand-up game. His stand-up game is so legit because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah, but it's super slow. I don't think Kevin Gastelum.
But it's unpredictable. My point is unpredictable.
Unpredictable to somebody that doesn't see it coming, obviously. I think Kevin Gastelum is a younger fighter and can see that coming from a mile away.
I know, but I'm talking about unpredictable in the sense that not his awkward stands or his awkward boxing. It's more of you don't know if you're going to be taken down or you're going to get hit. It's almost like a Khabib type of thing, you know? When you, especially as soon as Sousa takes him down once, he's going to ride that out. He knows that's the openings for Gastelum, and he's going to ride it out. I got Sousa winning this, and I got Sousa winning in the second round.
Oof. That's a tough one to pick. I think that it's funny thing that you mentioned about Jacare doing that, not knowing whether the opponent is going to be taken down or is going to get punched. I think Kevin Gastelum goes into every single fight exactly the same way. It's hard to predict whether he's going to knock your lights out or he's going to take you down. the honest truth about. He reminds me of a young, what's that Mexican fighter, Brown Pride,
Mexican fighter.
the heavyweight.
Cain Velasquez.
He reminds me of a young Cain Velasquez, bro, in a lighter weight class.
That's a big name.
With that being said, I already mentioned Kelvin Gastelum. I just needed to add that to the thing. All right, cool. All right, go for it, bro. You got the last one. So it's you want me to mention the fighters? Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington.
All right, so this fight to me, there's no way Nunes. I'm going with Nunes on this fight. There's no way I seen her losing this fight. I don't think. I'll be honest with you. The fight to make for Nunes was Cyborg. It wasn't Rachel Pennington. And don't get me wrong, I think Rachel Pennington is a great fighter. But as an overall fighter, I really feel there's no way. She stands no chance versus Nunes. And I'll tell you, her level of confidence, Rachel Pennington, going into the conferences, she just doesn't look like she has the confidence. You could tell Nunes is a champion. She's standing there with big smiles. She's way too comfortable on the stage. If Rachel Pennington gets knocked out just because Nunes is a better fighter, that's one. Second, pressure's going to get to Rachel. Nunes has been here before. She's going to knock it out.
I agree with you 100%. Not so much about the whole conference things you were talking about, but I feel like Amanda Nunes has a better overall game than her, but more importantly, she has a better stand-up and a lot more power than Raquel Pennington.
And Raquel Pennington can only stand up.
And exactly right. So the question is, when the hell is Nunes going to knock her out? Whether it's round 1 or round 2. So for that reason, I have Amanda Nunes winning that fight as well. So that is a wrap for UFC 224. We will be seeing you guys next week. We might have 2 podcasts for you next week. We're going to look into it. You're not going to be able to catch this card. It's a possibility, right?
It's a small possibility.
I might be able to catch the fight with my boy Chris, and I'm gonna record a little bit of the fights and give you guys a heads up. For people that might be listening to us in different countries, or you could keep up with what's going on in the U.S. here. Anyways,
we're working on our Facebook page. It's around the corner. We're working it. We just want to make sure it's correct and it's done correctly before we expose it to you guys.
Anyways, thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, on the Will and Rock MMA podcast, on Instagram, on this Will and Rock MMA podcast, on Twitter, and coming soon, Facebook. Peace.
Peace, guys.